Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly Intelligence Insights briefing from At Risk International. I'm Ross Hill, Director of Intelligence for the Global Risk Intelligence team, and I have Roman Fisher here with me, and we're going to take you through what we think is interesting or important for the week ahead. So first up this week, an update on Ukraine. Russian Defence Minister Sergei Shoigu called his counterparts in France, Turkey, and the UK and the United States on the 23rd of October, claiming that Ukraine is preparing to conduct a false flag attack using a dirty bomb, which is a conventional explosive laced with radioactive material, not a nuclear weapon. Russia is accusing Ukraine of trying to make it look as if Russia is going to use a weapon of mass destruction. The Russian claims have been amplified in state media, but clearly the Ukraine, US and the UK all categorically deny that Ukraine is planning this. And it's not the first time Russia has accused other countries of those kinds of provocations, as it describes it. It's alleged the US was preparing a false flag attack using chemical, biological, or tactical nuclear weapons. Putin also claimed prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine that the West was supporting Ukraine in developing nuclear weapons and planning other false flag attacks. Although Russia is talking about using a dirty bomb, Shoigui's calls are actually assessed as being most likely to try and reduce support for Ukraine from the US and UK in particular. This is rather than setting a pretext for Russia using nuclear weapons. Nevertheless, what we're actually seeing in Russia is a fairly consistent narrative around the use of nuclear weapons, which you could consider somewhat psychologically preparing the Russian population for their use. But we are still a long way off that actually happening. Meanwhile, in the conflict itself, Russia continues to target Ukrainian infrastructure. More than 1 million homes in Ukraine reportedly without power after a third of power stations in the country were hit by Russian strikes. Russia using a lot of Iranian-made drones now to carry those out. Reports that Iran is training Russia in their use in Belarus. Both sides in the conflict also accusing each other of preparing to hit the Nova Kakhovka Dam that would flood large areas of southern Ukraine. And we're seeing fighting concentrated in the east and the south. Russia actually asking civilians to leave Kherson ahead of a likely Ukrainian counteroffensive there. But we're not seeing any actual significant territorial gains by either side at the moment. But both will probably be looking to take some territory ahead of winter setting in. But we really don't see anything other than a prolonged conflict in Ukraine still. Then we have a brief update on a couple of disease outbreaks. So we have an Ebola outbreak in Uganda that we reported on a couple of weeks ago. That's now reached the capital, Kampala. 14 cases reported there. Local media are actually reporting that at least one patient that had tested positive has escaped from hospital quarantine. So we're monitoring to see what might occur with that. Countrywide, there's at least 84 cases and 28 deaths. The death count's likely to be a little higher than that, but we had a number of people who died and were buried before testing could take place. But we continue to track the spread because the outbreak there is the Sudan strain, which has no vaccine. Then for COVID-19, we have coronavirus waves anticipated in Europe and the US as we move into winter. There are high levels of immunity, which means the outbreaks will probably be less severe than previous. And Omicron is still the dominant variant, but there are a couple of others being tracked that health agencies are kind of slightly concerned about. Also some reporting about low uptake of booster vaccines and some pandemic fatigue where people just essentially believing the pandemic to be over. So we might see some increased reporting around coronavirus measures, but there's unlikely to be any significant travel disruption or other associated restrictions at this point. And now I'm going to hand you over to Roman Fisher.
Thank you, Ross. A research team at the Illinois Institute of Technology has successfully extracted personal information from anonymous cell phone data using machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms. And afterwards, this is leaving some with questions about the future of data security. The team developed a neural network model, and they were successful in estimating the gender of users with a 67% accuracy. They were also able to estimate the age of individual users with an accuracy rate of 78%. The information was captured using computer equipment accessible to most, and the equipment used would not be difficult for a well-resourced adversary to acquire. Additionally, there are much more powerful computer systems available capable of achieving the same results. The data set used to conduct the research is not publicly available. Our researchers claim that an adversary could collect similar data using typical hacking techniques. Finally, the stated aim of the research was to examine the impact of emerging machine learning and AI techniques on privacy regulations. Additionally, researchers are interested in how to protect individual privacy and the privacy of societal and economic interests from fraud. And that's what we have for you this week. All of us here at Risk International, thank you for spending a bit of time with us, and we hope to see you again soon.